How's it going, everybody? My name is Warner Fields with Fields of Profit. I'm a high six-figure full-time Amazon seller, and today's video is actually a little bit different from the norm. I recently had an in-person event in Madison, Wisconsin, where we actually had some beginner sellers, some advanced sellers come up on stage, and we did what's called a hot seat, where they basically came up with a little bit of questions. I kind of grilled them on their business, see what was their next step for their business. And there's two stories in this video that I think are going to be useful to pretty much everyone watching this video. One of them is kind of a new seller. The other one is doing a little bit of volume, trying to scale his business a little bit. So I'm confident you're going to learn from both of these interviews, so be sure to stick around and watch both of them. But before we jump into this video, if you're new to the channel or want even more free resources to learn how to sell on Amazon, directly beneath me is linked my completely free Discord server. There's over 25,000 people in there sharing a bunch of free information. Would love to see you in there. Let's go ahead and jump into those interviews.
How's it going, Isaac?
Oh, good. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So how much are you selling right now?
I bought like 12,000 a month.
Cool. How long ago did you start?
Last year was my first year, and this would kind of be like my first year, kind of like full time.
Yeah. So you're really going hard at it right now?
Yeah.
Cool. So is it your full-time gig right now?
Not exactly. It's
cool.
like, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So what's your biggest pain point right now?
So kind of understanding how much I actually am making after like a payout.
Sure. Yeah.
Because right now I'm pretty much like, I have cash on the side, but I'm just trying to do heavy on credit cards. And then after I pay the credit card bill when it's due, I go into my bank account or whatever. I'm like, well, how much of this is actually like profit?
Yeah. So are you using like an inventory lab or something like that?
I do. I got it.
Are you finding that number to not be like accurate or?
Yeah. So after like hearing the other one, I'm kind of thinking that it might just be that my ROI is just too low.
Okay.
Because I was kind of starting at like 25%.
Yeah. I think at your volume, it's probably time to bump that up. Like I said, if you've got money that you just need to burn through, you can keep going for those. But at your volume, it's going to be really important to the health of your business. If that's kind of becomes priority number one, is learning how to get those higher ROI products. Obviously that's, there's a million different ways you can do that. But yeah, if you're going to continue to scale, don't continue to scale at that profit point, just because that's like the ROI that like multi-million-dollar sellers run at. So if you get to the point where you're multi-million, by that point, you're going to compromise to like 5% margin. And then at that point, you're like, yeah. And then within, you're looking at your credit card versus your bank account, that kind of stuff. I would imagine you're running a surplus on inventory every month. So you're just building the snowball. Is that probably what's leading to, oh, I thought I'm making all this money, there's nothing in my bank account?
Yeah, because like one thing that just happened was like I bought a ton of this product and then Amazon jumped in. Yeah. So now I've got I'm like stuck with it. So I'm thinking of just kind of like liquidating it.
Yeah. Is there a multi-pack that Amazon's not on it? Have you checked that?
That I haven't checked.
Okay, check that. Yeah, if you ever see Amazon come onto your listing, like make sure there's like check the 2-pack, the 3-pack, the 4-pack. Like even if it's like a 300,000 rank 7-pack, like those are weird listings, but they're out there and you can like slowly liquidate. If getting that capital back is a really big issue, then you're going to just have to take a loss and get the money back. Just depending on where your cash flow's at that point, whether you can afford to wait and get your money back, who's buying the 7-pack listing. Yeah. But look for a multi-pack. That's probably a good thing for you.
Okay. Yeah. And then kind of like as far as like software goes for kind of like accounting, you kind of recommend to like see the this month I spent this and this is what I got after everything, and that I like all the expenses.
Yeah. I use, Inventory Lab that checks like Amazon related expenses, your shipping, all that kind of stuff. But for like specific month-to-month profit, just using like a QuickBooks and anything like that is probably going to be the way to go. Also within that, I would probably calculate your cost per unit to prep. So your boxes, your shipping, your labels, like everything, figure all that out so that when you're buying inventory, make sure that the 19 cents or 20 cents or whatever it is per unit that you're paying, when you consider everything, is all included in those fees. So you don't get to the end of the day and you're like, oh, I just gave Walmart all my profit for boxes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that was pretty much it for me. Just kind of quick.
Yeah. So like, what's the biggest thing that's holding you back? Like flipping a switch, like time, money, sourcing?
Right now it would be time.
Okay.
Yeah. Time. I can really only source like 2 or 3 hours a day.
Okay.
And then when I am sourcing, like it's hard to like concentrate.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm just like scrolling. But like, if you don't find anything like in a certain amount of time, you're like, oh, maybe like today's not the day. So then like you'll stop, and then like the next day. But think of hiring a VA soon. Okay. Because if I'm at work, I can't really be working on this.
Yeah. How much capital do you have to put in the business right now?
About 5,000. So,
I would not get a VA yet.
okay.
Because if you pay a VA like even $500, like that's, there's 10% of the money you have in general every month, right? So it's just not going to end well. You just like won't have enough money left. You would probably benefit from a leads list, honestly, and maybe not necessarily just buying the leads on the list, but doing a reverse sourcing on those so that you have a more targeted place to start your search every day. Because if you're just booting up Amazon listings like, oh, I hope I find something today, and oh, give up, I didn't find anything after an hour, you're going to be a lot less likely to run into that when you're starting from consistently different starting points every day. And then obviously the leads on the list will remain a little bit profitable. It's kind of inevitable that those are less profitable than average, but you can definitely make profit on leads lists. So that's a really easy way to have products to immediately buy. And then when you are doing your own homework, just dig into those listings, doing reverse sourcing. And then I'd say I generally say once you're spending about $15,000 to $20,000 a month, that's when you should get your first VA. Unless you've got a bunch of outside capital you can put in, all that kind of stuff. It's just going to stunt your growth too much if you get a VA too soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then would having too many softwares all at once kind of be too much? Like
that's another thing.
TA and then SellerAmp and I keep what you need, but it was like maybe like too much to focus on like one thing.
Yeah, you could, since you have right at 5, if you really like reverse sourcing, you get rid of TA for now, get it back later. I had mentioned 5 as kind of a starting point just a second ago, but if you're not loving TA and you think you're spending too much on softwares, then cut it. Or if you think you're doing too much reverse sourcing, I guess it doesn't really save you on software at that point because you need those for TA, but yeah, just do what you can. I'd probably cut TA if I were you.
Okay.
If you can get really good at reverse sourcing, and then get the VA and get TA later on once you have a lot more money to spend.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, cool. Is that what you got on your sheet?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I didn't write anything down. But
Yeah.
Hopefully it goes up.
Yeah. I didn't know.
But yeah, no, I really appreciate it. And
yeah, for sure. Thanks for being here, Isaac. How are you doing today, Lauren?
Good.
Nice to have you. So I saw you're doing about like $400 a month right now. Is that?
Yeah. Well, I've
cool?
been selling for 1 month.
Cool.
So.
Yeah. So just learning the ropes.
Yeah.
So what has been your biggest struggle so far?
Sourcing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you currently doing to source?
So I just got Keepa and I started using SellerAmp.
Cool.
So trying the reverse sourcing. So I finally kind of just found a couple of stores that I've been starting to comb through, and I made my first couple of orders.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, it's hard. I feel like it's hard to find the 35% ROI. Like I kind of want to just be like 25 could be good, right? Like
yeah.
It's hard to
How much money are you willing to put towards the business right now?
Probably like 2,000.
Okay.
Maybe even a little more, 3,000, because I just applied. I saw on some video of the plum card.
Yeah.
So I just applied for that and got that. So
Okay.
now that's going to give me like 60 days
Cool.
to play with.
Yeah, that's a major key. If any of you guys are struggling with cash flow, the Amex Plum gives you 60 days to pay it off instead of 30, which I don't recommend over leveraging versus the cash you do have like almost ever. But if you are struggling with cash flow, that's an amazing way to work on that right up front. Yeah, so the reason I asked, just because it kind of affects like how you should think about things. So especially as a new seller, like if you are finding those products that are like 25%, even 20% ROI, if they're pretty stable, are you passing on those right now?
Yeah, like I've been, I think I did get a few, I think I may have ordered something that was like 25%.
Okay.
But then trying to pass on anything lower than that.
Yeah, I think 25 is a good threshold. But the reason I think it's not a bad idea to just buy what you can is because like as a new seller, like you're going to be learning like not only like, oh, here's this item, here's might not have gone so well, but you're going to learn like, oh, here's when an item needs a certain kind of prep. Oh, this was like bagged kind of weird, it kind of broke. That's what I need to learn next time. So all those items, like just getting diverse items is going to teach you a lot more. And, even if it ends up going to break even since you're buying on slimmer margins, you're still learning more about the process, more about the business. And as you are finding those better leads, you can obviously phase out the low ROI leads, especially for new sellers. I'd recommend spending in ROI order almost always because you're just not enough volume where it's like, oh, I just need to buy 100 of this. You have the time to go buy 5 of this, 10 of this, 15 of this, and just buy in ROI order. But if you get down to the end of that sheet and you've still got a little bit of money left and you're just not finding anything, like just go for it. It's going to teach you something about the business. And if it's stable and you do your homework right, you might make a little bit less profit, but you'll still be making profit, right?
Yeah, I do feel too like that makes sense because I'm getting caught up in a lot of little details. Like I ordered Lego keychains to get ungated in Lego, and then I threw them in a box, and I was like, wait, these have to be in like a bag or something, don't they?
Right.
And then I spent all this time like researching how do they go in the bag and what size does it have to be, and yeah, so just stuff like that has taken me forever.
Gotcha.
Like all the little details.
Yeah, and you know, as with anything new you're starting, there's going to be a bajillion different things to figure out, and I'm sure you're already getting through like, oh, here's when I polybag, here's when I do that kind of thing. Specifically within like talking about prep, if you want to use Inventory Lab later down the road, it'll show you like, hey, this item needs to be polybagged, this item needs to be, here's how it needs to be prepped, like this is hazmat. So that's one nice thing about that. We probably don't quite need that yet, but that'll be one thing that'll help you in the future.
So I actually have AccelerList because the reason I have even $400 in sales is because I started off in books.
Gotcha.
Because I just wanted to see, does this actually work? Like I can't believe that this is
like
a thing.
Books as a proof of concept is awesome.
Yeah, so like AccelerList was recommended somewhere, so I started off with that. And so, but it seems like everybody says Inventory Lab is better.
Yeah, I tried both. I think AccelerList is good for books, but that's about it.
Okay.
I like Inventory Lab better. If you might have all that same kind of information on AccelerList. Is it not telling you when stuff needs polybagging and stuff like that?
I don't think so, but I mean, there's a lot of things on the screen and maybe I'm
right.
missing
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
I'm not super familiar with it. You might be able to poke around. Does anyone know if you can see polybag, that kind of stuff on AccelerList? I think most people are probably Inventory Lab. So poke around in your settings, see if it will show you that, because that's just a nice, like, easy way to know, to just be comfortable. And a lot of times I'll actually polybag stuff that doesn't necessarily need to be polybagged. I'm just using my better judgment. Like a lot of times there'll be liquids where it's like, hey, you can just send this in. I'm like, I don't know about that. So a lot of times it's up to your better judgment, but yeah, you'll learn that over time. If you're using SellerAmp, has to have it somewhere, because even on Seller Central, it'll tell you when you need certain kinds of prep. So definitely pay attention to that. Is there something you think that was awesome that you did right at the start that you think other people should do?
You know, I actually thought getting started in books was kind of awesome because like you can just see like that it works, you know, and I mean, some of them are just books for my house that I like never read anymore. That I was just like, oh, check that out. That's worth like $20. Like, you know, and then like, I really like books too. And I love thrift stores. So I was like, yeah, I'll just check this out. And I have kids and I thought, oh, this would be fun to show them like a business that they could do and help me with. I think starting with books is really awesome because and you also see the limits to it because it's like, oh, okay, I don't want to do this for like 4 hours a day, like just run through and be scanning things, but it's like, oh, this does work, like I can, it's a model that works.
And for the brand new sellers, like you said, it's an awesome proof of concept because you can just scan, like you said, the books. I don't want these anymore. I'll send them in and I learned how to start a business for basically free because I already had the stuff. And dealing with actually holding inventory was frightening to me, but I'm like,
oh, I see the beauty of this model because I don't have to hold anything.
So what's so you mentioned sourcing. Is there some kind of bottleneck we can get you through to help you get to the next level?
I mean, I guess like, should I just keep doing reverse sourcing with like Keepa and SellerAmp, or like I haven't even been on tactical arbitrage. Is it better for me to just kind of stick with combing through stores, or is there like something else that I should try to do?
Yeah, I would, since you got like 2 to 3K, I'd probably just stick with reverse sourcing. TA is probably a little bit more powerful than you need right now.
Okay.
And since it is like $100 a month, that's like a pretty decent percentage of the profit you'd be making on spending $2,000 or $3,000 a month. So hold off for now. Generally, I say if you're spending like $5 a month, get TA.
Okay.
You're close, but you can definitely get to that spend goal with SellerAmp and Keepa.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there any other pain points I can give you a specific plan for?
No, I think that's pretty good.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren.